Hey, what's up? I'm Pascal from Orangepixel and welcome to another video. And I just love saying that because it starts a new video. This week's video, I'm gonna try something different. Hopefully it all worked out. I'm gonna record a little bit every day up to Thursday because that's when the video goes live. It's now Monday. That means a little bit of administration because this week there's a festival going on Steam. Gunts Power is part of that and a bunch of other things. But first, intro. So today on Monday starts the Pixelated Festival, which is hosted by somebody I honestly don't really recall. It's hosted, got 2 games in it, Regulator City, the demo is part of it, but also Gauntlet of Power. And that's the more important one here right now for my admin duties, because that game received a big update last Friday, and we're also gonna be discounting it for the first time this week. It's 20%, and this 20% is important because it should trigger an email saying game on your wish list is now on sale, and hopefully that actually triggers people to buy it. The discount is set. I am going to check it in a minute, but there's one more thing that I want to do, and that's use a Steam visibility marketing thingy. Let me explain. When you're releasing a game on Steam, it triggers a visibility. That means that everybody that had it on their wish list, and that's why it's important, gets an email or notification saying the game is now available for purchasing. That's one big push of marketing that Steam does for you. However, you get 5 more of these rounds, and they are less and less and less people getting that message, but they still are a lot of people getting that message. You can do them at any time you want, but you have to do that. There's no real information or intelligence on when to best use it besides the stuff that Steam tells you. Do it when you have a big update and maybe a big sale or discount. Use one of these visibility rounds. So I figured this was the perfect time to do it. We have a big update, we have the first discount, and we have a festival going on that we're part of. I guess it won't hurt to run that visibility round now, the first one out of 5. So that's the main thing I have to do today. I think it triggers as soon as I activate it, and I'm not sure if I should activate it now. It's now 11:30 in the morning, European time. It might be better to somehow trigger it later in the day. I've been looking for these things and I can't find any information on it, on what's the best time of day, or does it even matter? But you just have to try a bunch of these things and see how it works. Now, being part of the festival, I also re-triggered this stream that I had up there when the game launched, still done through RoboStreamer. Had a couple of hours left, I think 600 hours or something like that. So it's been streaming for a few days again, and it will be streaming the rest of the week. And we have the big update that I want to be part of this over here. Choose Your Poison, patch 1.2.0. Typed this all out on Steam last Friday. Looked at a couple of other games, how they did it. And I liked how they usually feature the big new content things at the top. So I mimicked that. And we then add what's next. A couple of plans I have for the next couple of updates. Thanks. I sneaked in a little bit of merchandising here. I'm not sure if people, I don't know how people feel about that. But if I don't try these things, nobody's ever going to know that there is even a cool mousepad. And I have one of them. I have one for Regulator City as well. I'm using the Regulator City one right now, as you can see. Pretty cool. So that's all available. And I just figured I'm sneaking in. I always link to the game as well from this news page, because I'm not sure how people might read this post, and this way I'll know they'll have a quick play now action button type thing going on. So that's cool. I also noticed there's no discount set yet, so I'm gonna check that, double check that again. Full changes list over there. So that news post will be ready to go. Now I just have to check and read up a little bit on marketing and visibility. And then I think that's pretty much done. I also changed it, by the way, on Friday. This was a link to my Discord. Now it's a link to signing up to the newsletter, because I think it's more important to try that instead of having people drop in the Discord. So for now, I'm going to try this for a while. Did the same on the Regulator City page. Let me show you over here. This page needs a little bit of work. I also posted the new demo, really trying to keep up these Steam pages and have new stuff posted there so people hopefully understand that I'm working on all of this. Everything is getting updated and coming. I should update these GIFs and these screenshots. Maybe I'll do that this week as well. All right, just checked up on the Steam visibility stuff. Apparently a visibility round runs for 30 days. So it doesn't really matter if I do it now or in 2 weeks. It's still going to cover the whole month. Also going to contact streamers who did a couple of good streams on the original Gauntlet of Power release. Smaller streamers, but also a couple of the bigger ones. Splattercat, Wonderbots, they haven't picked up the game yet. So I'm hoping I can somehow inspire them to pick up now that the game has received 2 updates and has a very positive rating on Steam. So I'm going to mail those guys and then push the visibility later. And a few hours later now, and I actually mailed out to a bunch of YouTubers, just mailed them a new Steam key. The old one was for playtest key. I'm gonna deactivate those, so I figured it was a very good point in time to mail them all. New Steam key, new update, all that stuff. Just trying to get some attention from them, and I know they are busy, they have a very busy schedule. We'll see if it works out. And this is pretty much what I call admin related stuff. And I think there's not a lot of creativity gonna be done today. And that brings me to Tuesday, which means Regulated City rest of the week. Most of my focus will be Regulated City. But first of all, it's a very warm week in the Netherlands this week. The office is getting very hot. Let's move this party to the kitchen table. And that's much better. The plan for this week on Regulated City is 2-player mode. Let's see if we can actually make that happen. The good thing is we already have 2 players running around. One is AI controlled. If we just add controllers to that, I think we have 2-player mode. I have experience, I have done this before. I am a professional, so I got good hopes that this will work out before the end of the week. I am a professional. I just forgot my gamepad. But this happens to all the professionals, trust me. A few hours and a lunch break later, and it's actually up and running, sort of. First thing I wanted to do is make sure that we can have multiple input controllers, and that also means keyboard and mouse. But I want it to be flexible so that it doesn't matter if player 1 uses the keyboard or player 2 uses keyboard or both use a gamepad. It should all work and function as expected. That has been a little bit of shifting code around and updating my framework stuff, but it's actually working. And then it was just a matter of plugging that into the player code and we can now move around. So let's start a new game over here. New game. And this is just the satisfying thing, that little press button to join. I always loved that in our old arcade games, so I had to have it. This whole screen needs an update. Obviously, it's designed for single player, but now we're going to do it in co-op mode as well. It just doesn't work with all that information down there. Yeah, it doesn't really work, so I'll have to update it, but functionality is there. Right now, player 1 is using keyboards and mouse, and if we grab one of the gamepads, grab a button, and now we can select 2 characters, and one with the mouse and the other one, and we can select both characters the same. Not sure if I'm gonna keep that, but for now it's all working. Let's go with this one, and let's go with this one. The game starts, and we have one player moving with a gamepad, and we have the other one moving with keyboard. So this is pretty cool, and now needs a lot of things sorted, but the first step is done. Now I need to figure out a bunch of things, design issues basically. First thing I want to implement is make sure the camera always locks on the center of these 2 characters so that both characters can move the furthest possible. Because right now the camera is just following player 1. That doesn't work. Best if we can always center both characters so that they just have to move along. I did it like that in various other games. So I'm going to work on that. Split screen would be cool, but it also means I have to track a lot more stuff to make it and render it twice on screen. Would be a very cool feature. Not going to waste too much time on that right now because I know the other feature will work. And besides that, it's going to be design challenges. We have an inventory. but the AI never used inventory. The player, we now have two players. Can they both use the same inventory? Do they have their own inventory? If one triggers the inventory, do we show that full screen and the other player has to wait? A lot of things I have to figure out, and there's no good or bad answer to it. It's just a lot of design, and try it and see if it works. Play it with somebody and see if we both like it or not, and rehash until it's okay. The same thing goes for the special abilities. Some of these abilities pretty much take over the whole game screen or area. So do we have to let the other player wait while one is using his ability? Do we maybe disable the abilities in two-player mode? Do we add different abilities for two players? A lot of stuff I have to figure out. But the key thing here is we're getting close to actually local co-op. And that's pretty much the goal for this week. All right, we're like, I think 5 minutes after the last bit I recorded, already get it up and running. I cheated a little bit on that. I copied my camera code from Heroes of Loot 2, released well over 7 years ago, I think. But that code is pretty much plug and play in my current framework. That framework evolves every game, but this little piece of code still functions, so we get it up and running. What we pretty much do in the code is check if player 2 died. If so, we only have to worry about player 1. Other way around, if player 1 dies, player 2. But if both players are alive, find the center of it, and that's where we're gonna focus the camera on. Very short little piece of code. Let me show you how it operates when I grab two gamepads. So the players can now both move in a direction. Let me find the right button. They can both freely move, but as you notice, the camera will kind of keep them both on screen at all times. So it's focusing on the area between them. It does mean that you can kind of walk out of the screen over here and the other player can move out of the screen. I'm gonna see if I'm either gonna lock it so that doesn't happen. Maybe I'll try to do split screen because I got a lot of time extra now that this is already up and running, or find another way or let players fix it and solve it. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. We can now both move around and the camera will try to keep us both on the screen, and we of course can follow each other into areas and move alongside each other. The camera will do everything we need it to do. So I've been testing out the two-player mode for a while now. It's a few hours later. Ran into a bunch of things that I could quickly fix. Most of it is now working pretty well. But also made a list of things that I know need a redesign. They are going to be a problem if you're playing with two players. And I have no idea how to fix all of them yet. So as you can see here, this is the list. The inventory screen issue is there. There are a couple of more difficult ones, like secret areas. That's going to be the hard one. So pretty much what happens is that a secret area will allow you to go down through a ventilation in the floor and you'll pop up somewhere else in the map. But right now we lock the camera on both players, trying to keep them both on the screen. And that's going to be a bit of an issue because these secret areas are often somewhere else on the map. And that's a big problem. One thing would be to create maps designed for two players. I don't like that idea, mostly because it's a lot of extra work. The other idea is to ask player 2 if they want to join you when you go through a ventilation. If they say no, you can't go through. If they say yes, you both end up in the secret area. Both ideas aren't great, I know that, but local co-op would be pretty cool. So I have to come up with a solution for it. And I think I'm going with this ask player 2 if they want to join, or ask player 1, depending on who takes control. It's a local co-op, so that's going to be a lot of fun on a couch, hopefully. But for now, I'm ending today. It's nice weather outside. I need to rethink these things anyway. So I'm going to go out for a walk while I hopefully fix or solve some of that in my head. And tomorrow get a fresh start and see if what we can actually do code-wise and how far we get. Figured I took you guys on the walk as well. This is a little bit of my quiet area in the middle of the city, but it looks pretty deserted and no buildings around or anything. So I really, really like it over here. Now, I haven't figured out the problems yet. I might have figured out how to do split screen. Writing down those notes in a minute. So I can't wait to try those out tomorrow. And it's now Wednesday morning. Can't wait to get started. It's pretty early actually. Task of the day, split screen. Let's see everything I thought about yesterday during my walk actually works. Gonna split it up in two things. First task is making sure we can render two screens. That's kind of the basics of split screen. I don't use Unity or Unreal. I use my own code framework. I don't have a camera where you can just say point camera, add entity, done. I have to write everything. So that means rendering left, rendering right, based on where the players are, and then figure out how everything else in the world works. Because pretty much what you don't see isn't there. The game just processes everything that's currently on the screen, which is a very optimized way of doing things. But right now, two players could be at different locations, so we need to process everything based on that. But we're gonna do that in phase 2. First phase, I have an idea how to do this. Left screen, right screen, rendering two versions of the game world. Let's see if that actually works out. Few hours later, and I didn't expect this to actually work, but split screen is now in the game. It was far easier than I thought it would be, and most of it is all in higher level code, so I didn't really have to change much in the game. Let me show you how it looks right now. So as you can see, we now have left player, right player, moving the left player, or right player, moving it over here, doing its own thing while that player stays there. Let's bring the left player over there. And there we are. As you notice, these things, these little pop-ups are something I still need to fix, but everything else is like actually phase 1 and phase 2 are done already. It's now just fixing minor things like this. I should decide if we want to render this actually on the screen by the character that has this triggered, which would be this one, or if we do it on the full screen. Haven't figured it out yet, but it's going to be easy fix. The hardest part was the lighting and all the surroundings and making sure that's all visible on both the screens. Nothing is processed twice, so it's pretty fast. It's just rendering a part of the screen and another part of the screen, and it almost feels like magic. So the big task I had for this whole day is now pretty much done, and it's not even lunchtime yet, which means I can iron out all the little bugs and things in the afternoon. I'm pretty sure this is going to be done before the end of the day, which is good. Very productive day again. So that all took a little bit longer than I thought it would. So many little tiny details that needed fixing, tweaking, changing. I'm hopeful that I got most of that all done and fixed now. It's the end of the afternoon, which means I'm gonna call it the end of the day. That leaves me with Thursday. Then I'll have to edit this video, which goes live tomorrow afternoon as well. That's right, you've been actually watching the previous couple of days of my work. And I'm gonna edit the end of the video tomorrow morning. I'll also give you an update on numbers for Gauntlet of Power, which now has been on discounts and sale for 3 days, 4 days by then. So we'll have some numbers. Let's see if there's some interesting numbers there. As it's also been in a festival and still is, you can still grab it now for the discounted price. 20% discount, I think. Grab it. It's a pretty good game. It's not Regulated City, but it's also a pretty good game. I'm on a roll this year. It's fun to be working on so many cool things. But for now, I'll hand you over to the me version of tomorrow. In 3, 2, and that's my cue to continue this video and do the final part. I just finished editing everything you just saw, and I'm very happy and pleased with how this video has turned out. Anyway, have to wrap up this video, not before I talk about the numbers. Gauntlet of Power, I just checked them. There has been a little spike in weekly sales compared to the weeks before, which is a good thing. That means the discount and the festival all combined is probably doing its thing. Wishlist numbers are still increasing, even though the game is released. It's now at a little over 10k, which is more than I had when I launched the game. Sales are still going strong, pretty much. So that's why I'll keep pushing updates to that game. I'll be working on that on my Friday, which you won't get to see because we're ending this video here. So let me know what you think about this type of video. I really enjoy making them, so I hope the likes and the subscribes and the comments will also do it justice. And come hang out on the Discord if you want to say hi or come talk about it. And I will see you next week's video. Alright, bye.